I'd like to open this meeting, the West Bridgewater Board of Assessors. The time is 6:04. Mr. Donahue, what do you have for us?
I will read the state of emergency public access notice, Mr. Chairman. Due to the public safety concerns regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will be open to the public through remote participation only. The meeting will be accessible to the public via audio conferencing capabilities by telephone. If you would like to listen live, please dial 425-436-6392 and enter the access code 604239 to join the teleconference. Please be advised that the chairman may not allow questions from the listening public. On your agenda, you have generic appointment times because we're getting into the final phase of the application for abatement process.
Yeah.
So you did have a taxpayer scheduled for 6:15, but the taxpayer canceled due to a medical emergency.
Was that going to be virtual, or was he going to come in?
They were going to come in.
Yeah.
And the other two slots were just placeholders, and you don't have any other appointments for this
Okay.
evening. So regarding announcements, statutory exemption applications are due April 1st by 4 p.m. Town hall is still closed to the public and open by appointment only.
Okay.
I did have something that was not on the agenda, just to let the board know that the annual town meeting is scheduled for May 17th, 2021 at 6 p.m. It will take place in the middle school, senior high school gymnasium, just as last year. The board has voted to open the warrant and set a closing date of March 26th at 2 p.m. Any articles and all supporting documents should be submitted to the Assistant Town Administrator no later than March 26th at 12 p.m. Under old business, as the board knows, there was a revision to the budget. I put a packet together with your agenda. It is the one that's stapled together with 3 or 4 documents and is highlighted, column in yellow. You should each have a copy. It looks like this.
Yes.
Do you have yours, Paula?
Yeah.
So the budget was revised under line number 5309, consultant services, in the amount of $7,500.
Okay.
The chairman of the board, during both the Board of Selectmen meeting and the Finance Committee meetings of last week, explained the reason for the increase. As I had mentioned to the board last year, the Department of Revenue had determined that it was going to require appraisals for 504 properties, which are utility companies, of which there are 3 in the town of West Bridgewater. I think I projected at the time that cost was probably going to be around $4,500, and that we should be prepared to consider that. Now,
Is that? No.
I'm sorry, so the Department of Revenue then changed its mind because it found that it wasn't going to be feasible. So they only required those communities that were going through a recertification program last year to meet that requirement. I have to admit, I let this slip my mind when we did the budget process because I was focusing on 0 funding. That was the mandate that came from the office. Not to make any excuses, but I quickly realized I had forgotten that, and that needs to be included in the budget.
Yeah, because I know, just to recap on that, I might remember some little discussion, but back in 21 about the DOR, that part of only recertification communities doing that, I wasn't sure about that. And as far as this year's goes, right, we had really no discussion about presenting an increase in that budget for that item until it came about right before the meetings with the selectmen and the finance.
So, just so you have the documentation, there's a local finance opinion that was issued by Patricia Hunt, Chief of the Bureau of Municipal Finance Law, dated March 26, 19, outlining the expectations, and that was followed up by email from Joanne Graziano on November 6th, reminding communities also.
How come this wasn't brought up at the last meeting we had?
Because I remembered it between the last meeting and, I think it was it the day before the
Yeah,
Board of Selectmen hearing? I
No, it was
called
that-
you or I emailed you, Steve,
It was
yeah, it
that
was a
night.
day, or, yeah,
or maybe that
yeah,
night.
I forget, but
We
yeah.
had the meeting, and then we had the meeting with the selectmen.
I think I.
He was right up tight against
I
it.
think I emailed Steve and let him know. And Steve asked me to run it by the town administrator and get back to him, and I didn't hear back from the town administrator.
Okay,
And so
well,
he-
it is what it is, so let's move on, all right? It is what it is.
You don't forget and make mistakes and forget things.
Right, so I'm asking the board to approve the revised budget, because you voted on a budget last time that had $7,500 less.
Right. Okay?
So a motion would be.
I'll make a motion that we accept the FY '22, or we pass the FY '22 budget as requested to go to town meeting. The change, as John just stipulated, was the change with the consultant service. Now we have to bring in 504 personal property valuations in-house, so there was a reason for that late increase. So I'm making a motion that we accept this budget for FY '22 as requested at $248,002. Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Me.
What? I'm sorry?
Well, I didn't know if you were gonna ask if anyone was opposed.
So the
All
vote is
set.
210, just for the record?
Yeah.
210? 2 in favor, 1 opposed,
Correct.
no abstentions. You have some correspondence, you have bills and warrants payable. The only other issue I have for open session, just one other thing. While I was discussing the 504 utilities with Patriot Property, they also suggested that we're due for an upgrade of our software, and have been for a couple of years. So they sent a proposal on the 17th
For the Patriot software?
for the Patriot software. It's called AP5, version 5 upgrade of their software. So there's the, I'm sorry about that. So there's the proposal and some documentation of that. The amount is usually $14,800. They are offering a discount to the board, reducing it to the amount of $12,250. This would require a revision of the budget also. The town administrator has requested that we level fund, so I don't think it's appropriate to request
It- I
an
mean,
increase in the budget.
It doesn't have to be this year, does it?
Does not have to
Right.
be this year.
Right,
I just want to make the board aware of it.
right.
And I called the company to ask them, could this qualify under the CARES Act? And they said they would get back to me on that. So there's a possibility.
Did the town wouldn't have to pay for it, or they have assistance in paying for it,
They wouldn't have to pay for it
at all?
at all.
Well,
Why would it qualify under CARES?
I asked them to get back to me on that.
Well, I just didn't know if you had a thought process.
Well, why not ask, you know, it doesn't cost nothing to ask.
My thought, Paula, is that because I'm not entering buildings with building permits now, and because the technology allows me to go into the field and measure with electronic devices, I could possibly send the information up via satellite. So I think in that area, there may be room for discussion. Maybe not. I just asked them.
Okay, no, that's a perfectly legitimate, I just didn't know if there was a
Have we,
certain track you were going into with it.
And there are, and there are other offshoots too that may come into play. separate vendors that integrate their software with Patriot software that might get it closer to a
Right.
care.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, I
Eligibility.
mean, we do so much on paper, if we could start streamlining things to do more on computers, whether you use a tablet in the field,
Precisely.
to put stuff in, upload it right into the system, then the girls aren't
Staff doesn't
entering
have to do that or
anything.
anything.
No, absolutely, that makes a lot more sense than the way we do things now.
So as long as it can be associated with the public safety issue. And
Right.
the public safety would be me, not Cody, but I don't know if that will qualify.
Well, it saves everybody, you're not going in their house, so it's less on you, it's less on
Well-
the residents, so it makes sense.
We need to discuss, that was never formally arranged, that you wouldn't be going into any properties. Not with me, it hasn't. So we could talk about that, down the road, but that's not okay with me. Yeah, I understand there's gonna be, a lower, agreed. It doesn't have to be everyone, but just a carte blanche saying I'm not gonna go into any properties. I don't know what the DOR feels about that with on the recertification, on the 9-year plan there. We've talked about it briefly, but nothing's been formally discussed on that.
That's true.
So, just to make that decision that I'm not gonna go on any properties, we'll discuss it at a future time, I promise. Yeah, not a problem. Is this, on this upgrade for Patriot, is this something the town is mandated to do, or can we do without it?
Oh, you're not mandated to do it,
No.
but I would highly recommend that you do it. We haven't upgraded that software in
Yes, I'm sure,
In how
yeah.
many years?
over 10, I've been here for 10 years, it hasn't been upgraded the whole time. I think.
It probably wasn't upgraded before that,
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not. I can only speak for the last 7 years. So it's really overdue, but it's obviously bad timing right now too.
Well, yeah, I would think
But-
just timing is not a good idea.
The only reason I bring it up is I'm gonna pursue the CARES Act element and see if it'll fly. It will or it won't. It'll qualify or it won't.
sure, would you sign these? I think you did, yeah, okay.
So the only other issue in public session, Mr. Chairman and the board, is the minutes of the November 4th meeting, the November 18th meeting, the January 20th meeting, and the February 3rd meeting, which I sent by email on Friday. I assume you all received them.
Okay. Is there any discussion on these? I'm gonna make a motion to accept them. Any discussion?
No?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from,
November 4, November 18th.
November 4th,
January
18th.
20, and February 3.
yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the dates you just mentioned. Thank you, John, for doing that. Do I have a second?
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm just abstaining, just simply because I haven't had a chance to review all of them, so that's only fair.
So, is that
Yeah, we're also, 2-0, 2-1 or whatever.
201?
Yeah.
Abstain?
Yes, I'm just
Yeah.
abstaining because I
Yeah.
reviewed them completely.
Thank you, that's all I have for open
Okay.
session.
Good, thank
So
you.
motion would be in order, Mr. Chairman, to
Yep.
enter into executive session for the purposes of discussing applications for abatement, exemption classification under Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 60, relative to Purpose 7 of the open meeting law, and to discuss strategy of pending appellate tax board cases for purposes 3 and 7 of the open meeting law, according to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 60, because to do so in open session could have a detrimental effect on the board's litigating ability.
Okay.
And to reconvene in open session for the purpose of announcing your decisions on any applications for abatement.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we enter into executive sessions for the reason that Principal Assessor Donnie just mentioned, and that we reconvene into open session to sign any abatements that we act on during executive session. Second, and I'll need a roll call vote. Assessor Smith?
Yes.
Bunker?
Yes.
McCarthy? Yes.
Signed, Daniela, 6/17.
I'd like to make a motion that the board abates application number 1, 12, 29, 35, 36, and 37. Second?
Second?
Yeah, in open session, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
3-0. That concludes all of your business for this evening.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn is in order.
Oh, yeah.
Give my pal Wicked a call. I'll come in and talk to him someday. Maybe before our next meeting.
I just have a question about the Patriot property thing we were talking about earlier.
Sure.
It says on here, annual. We have to pay for it annually, or is this a one-time thing?
That's annual, it's going forward now and forever. Well, now until DOR makes a different rule, I guess.
12
I'm
grand?
not being facetious, Paula.
12 grand for the license? I mean, for the,
No, you're asking about oh, I'm sorry, for the upgrade?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I was thinking about the appraisals of the 504s. You're asking about the upgrade to the AP5?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a one-shot deal, probably, I don't know if it's another 10 years, but
so,
for some time.
well, all right, maybe I'm just confused. So how much was the initial cost to do the upgrade?
The
Is-
document you're looking at now,
Yeah,
12,000.
to go from the current software that we operate now,
mm-hmm,
would be an upgrade fee of $12,250.
okay. And then, but it's under annual, so it's gonna be 12,000 every year?
No,
Okay, well, that's why I was confused,
No.
because on this,
is that what it says?
It says
Yeah.
annual. $12,250. So that, to me, implies that that's what it's gonna be every year, since it says annual.
Yeah. Now, in the budget, as you know, go to the budget for a second.
We're all set. I gotta run. We're all set? Thanks, guys.
Nice to
See
see
you
you.
later.
Did you make a motion to adjourn, or are we just having, do you want to have this conversation in open session? I'm just asking. Either way, it's
Oh, I
fine
thought
with
you
me.
said you're free to go. We did, right? A minute ago.
She said you gotta make the motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, thanks. Good night.
See you later.